After I heard the dog barking. She was barking facing south, frantic, running around in circles, which is a bit unusual. So I brought her in and came in here, shut the door, turned off the light and opened the window. And what I heard was very loud crackling and crashing from that direction, which is more southwest. It's coming up the hill from that direction. From about 60 to 80 metres away, probably, through to very close, maybe 5 to 10 metres away. And then I actually heard, utterances. And the voice was just definitely not human, which point my heart began to pound. But what I heard was at least 4 or 5 monosyllables. They were consonant vowel monosyllables. And the one I remember best is like joy, like that.
Almost Japanese-like? Or?
Well, just joy. Yeah, and there were others in that same pattern. And also a couple of other very throaty noises. One was a bit like clearing the throat, but not quite. And the other one was a bit like a raspberry deep in the throat, sort of oscillating sort of a sound. And I got the impression that there were 2 of them, but there could have been more, I suppose. What else can I remember?
This wasn't the first experience though, was it?
No, 2 or 3 years ago, I woke up about 3:30, and there was this almighty bellow or bawling. It was a sort of sustained pitch, very loud. And I located it, I was pretty sure it was down the creek a bit. Just judging from the echoes and the distance, that's what I thought it must be. And it went on for almost 3 seconds, I think, and then followed maybe a second after by a huge crash, as if a huge rock had been dropped on rock. So the next day, my son and I went down to where we thought it was, the waterfall just beyond the baths, the old baths. And there's a ledge part way down the waterfall. So lo and behold, there was a very large rock on the ledge. So my son climbed down, and I suggested he looked underneath to see whether there were signs of it having been recently dropped. And there were. It was sort of, bright yellow sandstone, crumbly rock underneath. So that was, yes, 2 or 3 years ago. But this one was the most amazing one, because the voice was very much not human, and yet I swear those are words, 4 or 5 words, and grunts, very deep, as if there was and big, very resonant, as if there was a large chest.
Chest cavity to get that vibration?
Yep. And sort of very, what's the word, a lot of air coming out. How do you say that? Well, anyway.
And then
breathing.
Yes, when they were talking, you know how you can say some, like the Irish will say certain consonants, and there's a lot of air comes out at the same time. Well, that's how it sounded, but not like Irish, of course. Just very, very deep, very short monosyllables, and they were all different.
And then the light came on, was it? Is that the sequence?
Well, then my husband came in, and the light from the bathroom shone in, and I think that I would have been silhouetted. And Jono said a word or two. So after that, it was much quieter. I heard about 3 noises after that, but they were much quieter, as if they had spotted us, he or she or they. And there were a few little grunts and a few crackles, as if someone was walking on, dead branches or something like that. So then we put the light on the balcony, which faces that direction, and that was no good because it just lit up the tea trees just behind the fence. So we turned that off and we got a spotlight. It's a torch really, but it's a sort of it has a spot capability somewhat. And we saw 2 sets of eyes, we think. It's either one set of eyes that moved about a metre away, or there were 2 sets. And they were sort of very iridescent, bright greenish blue.
And the eyes were actually looking at you, looking at the direction, straight into the actual light?
Yeah, straight into the torchlight, yeah. Now, you see the missing plank there?
Yep.
Well, next one to it, if we call that number 1, 4 planks to the right. If you draw a line from here to there, to that gum tree, particularly the second branch.
The gum tree way off the distance, you mean?
Well, yeah, the gum tree that's about 10 metres away, that
Yep.
one. Yep. If you drew a line, then the eyes were behind the tea trees, but in front of the gum tree, and possibly were beside that bright green bush.
Yep.
Not the green bush that's directly behind the fence, but the one.
Yep, the one
beyond
behind
that,
it, behind the dead wood.
which would be, I suppose, about 9 feet tall, I guess. So they could have been beside that or just a bit in front of that and slightly to the left of it.
It's big.
And this morning when I went down there, I realised just how many trees, branches and sticks have been crushed down there.